What's good, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Look, this is going to be a different type of video. I'm going to just get straight into it. I don't know what's been up this week, but my energy's been all off. I don't know, I've not been in the greatest mood, and I feel like it has to be stemming from watching that god-awful UFC card last weekend. You know, I was kind of saved. Frankie Edgar got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the 49ers won their playoff game just barely. So, you know, two things went my way, but Sean Strickland got robbed, in my opinion, and that's not even like most of this rant. What primarily inspired this video is this man right here, Neil Davidson. I tried my absolute hardest to find a picture of this guy, and I could only find pictures of, you know, other reporters named Neil Davidson, or at least that's what I'm assuming. And I don't want to like blast somebody that isn't this guy. So if any of y'all can find a picture of this guy, we need to prop him up everywhere, because he started out the media week by trying to bait Mayra Buena Silva into beefing with Sean Strickland, you know, asking her loaded questions, just trying to make something out of nothing, right? Then he follows it up with Sean Strickland, and he asks him a bunch of really loaded, stupid questions. Just really shows exactly what type of man he is. And I don't need to say too much on that, because Sean Strickland and, you know, funny enough, Dana White, the CEO of the whole fucking organization, they end up saying something about it themselves. Dana White gets to have a one-on-one with him. He's the third, I don't know what word to use. I guess third victim of this man's fucking, you know, kill streak. Third victim of this man going around trying to create something out of nothing. And Dana just shuts him completely down. Essentially, re-asks him the same question that he asked Dana, and that just shut the man's brain off. He's so used to being like a dog on a leash. He expects everybody else to have the same mindset. So when Dana just questions his goofy ass, he said something along the lines of, "I know you have a long leash for your fighters and what they can say." And he was referring to Sean Strickland's interview with him earlier in the week. And Dana just really quickly is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, a leash? Like, is that how you view people?" This guy, I felt like he was an embodiment for like everything about Canada that week was terrible. The judges, horrible. They ruined like 3 fights that night. Everything was up in the air. It was one of those cards where you felt like if it went to the judges, you just wouldn't know who was going to win the fight. And then on top of that, all of the Canadian men lost on the card. I think one Canadian won, and it was a woman. And I can't even confirm that, because I don't know if any of the women were on the card were Canadian. I just know that the men went 0-7, and it was symbolic, bro. Mike Mallet is bodying Neil Magny. They're going to the end of the fight. It's like a complete shutout. He's winning like 14 and a half minutes of a 15-minute fight. And then Neil Magny just decides to win. And Mike Mallet has had no defense while he's getting hit in mount or in any of the positions on the ground. He's just getting fucking Mallet whomped. And he can't do shit about it. It was just... See, I'm just making up words now, because I'm so at a loss for words, essentially. I don't know. Fuck Canada, bro. Like, I'm sorry to any of you that watch this that are from Canada, but like, what the fuck was that? Like, I think even you guys agree that the UFC should never go back there. That was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Y'all are an actual disgrace. You guys are worse than, fuck, what crowd was it? Was it the Mexican crowd? Or some crowd in some goofy state? They were like memed last year for being terrible. Somebody in the comments, please remind me. I know somebody's going to remember. They were just like the worst crowd that we've seen in a while. And, you know, to like bring it back to some good crowds, England is always pretty fire. Australian cards are pretty nice. Or maybe it was Australia. You know what? Let me shut my mouth. Let me shut my mouth and go back onto what I can actually put my brain power into, which is that Sean Strickland won this fight. Don't even get me started on these goofy ass comments, like this dude in my comment section on my last video talking about Du Plessis won the 5th round. Brother, are you even watching the same fight? Let me just show you a graphic of the strikes round by round, the significant strikes. You thought that Du Plessis landing 35 strikes and maybe getting a takedown? I don't even remember if he got a takedown in that round. That wins him the round. And on top of that, I'm seeing all these commentators, people that you can tell never liked Strickland too. Like, especially when it comes to fighters, saying Du Plessis won 4-1. It's always the same people that never liked Strickland to begin with, right? And their whole take is that Du Plessis did more mixed martial arts, so he won. Last time I checked, it doesn't matter if you're throwing kicks out there and you're winging different types of punches and you're shooting takedowns. If your face is getting busted up by a jab, it doesn't matter what the strike is. Your face is getting busted up. I'm having such a hard time understanding these MMA fans that think they're like hardcore fucking analysts, and they're going in comment sections being like, all Strickland had was a jab. You can't win a championship with a jab. You clearly fucking can. He just melted Duplessis for multiple rounds with essentially just his jab. And that really should have won in the fight. Anybody that watches these fights all the time and knows that it's all about damage-based scoring and it has a keen eye for seeing damage would see that. Bro, and you don't even need to have a keen eye, let's be real. After the first round, Duplessis already had a mouse under his like right or left eye. It was terrible. And you know what? I'll give him this. He came back, he cut Strickland, he did damage himself. I'm not trying to take away that it was a close fight. But people acting like you can't have robberies in close fights is stupid as fuck. You can have somebody closely win 3 to 4 rounds of a fight, you know, still making it close in every round that they won, but they still definitively clearly won. You can't, you know, give the fight to the other person and be like, well, they were close rounds. It's up in the air. No, it's fucking not. That shit is crazy to me. When I see people doing that, my mind can't wrap around that. It can't grasp it. I cannot grasp even having that thought. You know, it's just so goofy to me. But you know what? Let me just finish my rant off by saying Strickland had one of the greatest title reigns for the couple months it lasted. I felt like he propelled as a star. He's like Nate and Nick Diaz level, or he's at least getting up there, and he fits in like a similar vein of fighter. Someone that just speaks their mind, win, lose, draw, they're gonna gain fans after the fact because they're just authentic. I really fuck with Sean Strickland. I felt like I especially grew more of a liking to him as he did, like, you know, get the belt. I felt like he became more vulnerable. He started speaking out on more things, and we need people like that in the world. Whether you like him or not, you need to appreciate people like him because they're going against the system that's here to keep all of us down. And they're speaking up for people that, you know, typically don't have a platform. So shout out Sean Strickland. Shout out DDP too. You know, he's a dog. He still brought a hell of a fight. And you could tell that he wanted to win it the whole way through. And I appreciate the hell out of that. So shout out to both these warriors. I had to go on this rant, though. I mean, let's be real. Never go back to Canada, UFC. Please, dear God, never go back to Canada. And give us this rematch for 300 if it's possible. Because it looked like it was mainly cosmetic damage for them, you know, just some cuts on the face. Let that shit heal up. These guys are warriors. Go back at it. We need a definitive winner. Please. And go follow me on TikTok at i9s if you want to see my breakdowns on fight news when it's announced. It's usually just for like betting odd shit and props. Thank you for the support. I'll catch y'all.